Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Aimee with the Drugless Doctors in Westlake. I've got a very special guest with me here today. This is Tom. Tom has been a practice member in our office and he's noticed some great changes in his body and he's excited to share his story with you today. So welcome, Tom.
Nice to be here as always.
So can you tell us a little bit about what your life was like, how you felt in your own body before you came to see us?
I had a lot of issues with pain in the hips, limiting mobility, a lot of tightness in the calves and the middle back. That was a constant issue. I could get it massaged out, but I had to get it massaged out.
How long was that going on for you?
Oh, probably years for the calves and the back, and more recently for the hips, but still probably a couple of years at least.
So that's been going on for a long time, and
it has been.
Massage helped for a period of time, but then
it always helps, but it was something I needed, several times a week. Mm-hmm. Not professionally, just
sure.
From my wife. So.
Okay, so did you ever think that you were going to get relief from this?
It was just getting worse, so I really had to try and find a more permanent solution than the occasional massage.
So what did you think when we first met?
Well, my name is Thomas, so I'm a doubter. And I was a little curious. I mean, growing up, I think my parents' generation was more skeptical of chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
My generation is not as skeptical, but still there's a little hesitancy, just from the heritage of it all. But
so you weren't sure what to expect?
I wasn't sure what to expect.
So what did you experience then when you came into our office for the first time?
Well, I think what I was most impressed with was the assessment process itself.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting x-rays, so that was very impressive, which then having the assessment explained to me, showing the x-rays, I could visually see things that just didn't look right as you explained them. I mean, it was pretty obvious even to the layman that things were out of alignment.
Absolutely.
And then other things like the marching in place test, where I wandered about 4 feet from the starting point, just illustrated a good point that I really didn't have that much control over things as much as I thought I might have had.
So what Tom's referring to is one of our specific assessments for the nervous system, where we can see how well the brain and the body are communicating. And his brain and body were not communicating very well when we first met.
No, it's much better now.
So what's been your overall experience? How have you noticed a change in your body since you've been working with us?
Well, there's greater mobility in the hips, less pain. The tightness in the calf muscles has virtually disappeared. The tightness in the middle back muscles has virtually disappeared. My balance has improved. I used to look at a wet concrete floor and fear slipping on that, and now I look at it and I don't have that same fear. I still am careful, obviously, but I have more confidence in my balance, which I think just speaks to brain and body being in better sync with each other.
Absolutely. That's huge. I know that every time Tom comes in for his adjustments, he's always sharing the next best thing that's been happening in his body, whether it's ease of getting into a car,
true,
changes in daily life. Is it easier for you to do your daily activities now?
It seems like the simple things, but as she said, just getting into a car used to be a two-step process. Now I can just step right into it. Putting on my right shoe was a challenge before, because I couldn't really reach the end of my foot to help pull the shoe on, and now I can. So just simple things like that is like, this is a good improvement. However small that seems, it's a daily thing, and getting in the car can be many times a day. It just improves things immensely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that there are probably people watching right now that are thinking, I could probably use some improvement with the little things that I'm doing every day that are possibly harder than they need to be. What would you recommend for somebody who's watching who might not have ever thought about trying chiropractic care?
Well, there's nothing to be afraid of. Whatever stories we heard decades ago about chiropractic and having your head jerked around, it doesn't happen here. There's pressure applied. There's a massaging, like a reciprocator massaging tool that helps generate some blood flow and some relaxation in places that are too tight. And I just think that there's big steps to be made for people with bigger problems in mind and probably lesser problems in mind. If you just think your gait isn't right, if you're having trouble getting up into a chair or out of a chair, all those things for me have improved.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I know that if you're watching right now and this sounds familiar or you'd like some improvement in your life, we're here to help. We do thorough evaluations to see what's specifically going on with you, as Tom has described, and we do gentle treatments to help get you back to where you need to be. So again, this is Dr. Aimee with the Drugless Doctors. You can find us in Westlake, Ohio, and we look forward to helping you.